Welcome one and welcome all to Nizira's Bookshelf. This series is where I will be reviewing books that I've read and putting them in my own personal ranking system. Literary masterpieces go in God tier, fantastic but flawed books go in great tier, enjoyable but heavily flawed books go in good tier, boring or mediocre books go in mid tier, and absolute literary dumpster fires go in trash tier. The book I'm gonna be talking about today is a novel that I have a very complicated relationship with. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Remember, this is a spoiler heavy review, so if you haven't read the book, I suggest doing that first, because we're going to be discussing some very juicy stuff. But if you have read it, good! You also share my pain. Now let's dive right in, shall we? The biggest strength in this book is Evelyn herself. She is an incredibly fascinating character. She's like an amalgamation of all the bad bitches of old Hollywood like Elizabeth Taylor and Marilyn Monroe, and she lived a life just as salacious as they did. I love learning about her rise to fame and her love story with Celia. It honestly felt like I was reading about a real person. Evelyn is a very morally gray character, but she did what she had to do to survive such a cruel and misogynistic time period, and I have the utmost respect for her. Her seven husbands don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Most of them were just her beards so that she could live happily with her girlfriend Celia, which I support. Her story is so well fleshed out that when I finished this book, I honestly thought that it was a masterpiece. But after sitting for a while, I realized that there were some very, very dumb decisions that were made in this book that did not sit right with me. Right off the bat, Monique's plotline. Monique didn't get a subplot at all. There, I said it. She could have just been a nameless reporter getting Evelyn's story, even though I did like the plot twist at the end involving why Evelyn chose Monique in the first place. That was shocking. I didn't care for Monique. Her character arc of her learning to speak up for herself and tell her ex-husband goodbye paled in comparison to Evelyn's story by a long shot. Evelyn was living that Rita Hayworth, Judy Garland, Marilyn Monroe life, and I was supposed to care about a spineless reporter? Okay. Another thing that I didn't like about this book, well, actually no, I didn't just dislike this plot point. It actually made a vein almost burst in my head because I was so mad when I read it. The second thing about this book that I did not like at all is Evelyn and Celia's contrived breakup. So, one of the biggest secrets in Evelyn's life is clearly her relationship with fellow actress Celia St. James. Their love story is the main plot line of this book, and it's a very torrid romance to say the least. They break up twice, once because Evelyn kind of cheated on Celia, which I completely understand why Celia left the first time, but the second time Celia left Evelyn is because Evelyn filmed a graphic sex scene with one of her ex-husbands. Now, I understand completely why Celia would be bothered by this, because Evelyn already broke her trust once before, and Celia is already a very insecure person, but her dumping her and destroying her, Evelyn, and Harry's family unit because of it, that was one of the dumbest, most contrived plot points I've ever read in any novel. Why did Evelyn and Celia need to break up a second time? Looking back, a lot of the tragic events in Evelyn's life, especially near the end, didn't make a lot of sense, and this is definitely one of them. I feel like it was just added for drama and it didn't work. The stuff that Evelyn went through in the beginning, like her childhood, her rise to fame, that made sense, but stuff like this did not. And also, Celia, what the hell? You're gonna end your happy life with Evelyn and Harry because of a simulated sex scene. Celia, I understand you're uncomfortable, but hey, here's the thing. Just don't watch the movie. Just don't watch the movie. Why did they need to break up? Celia didn't have to watch the movie. Like, I wanted to wring Celia's neck when this insecure little shit ruined everything. And something else that also pissed me off is that Evelyn blamed herself for breaking up their family because she didn't discuss it with Celia first. She filmed the scene first, then she told Celia about it. Celia got mad and then dumped her. And yes, Evelyn should have told Celia about the scene first. She should have discussed it with her. But Celia just up and leaving? That didn't make any sense. It's a sex scene. Just don't watch the movie. Like, Evelyn, you're not responsible for Celia being an insecure little shit. I cannot comprehend why Celia would just abandon Evelyn after everything they've been through because of a fake sex scene. I'm sorry, that was so dumb. It pissed me off, and it made me really have a gripe with Celia. I like Celia, but Lord, Okay, the next thing that pissed me off in this book is the ending. So, here's the thing. I understand that this book is about a tragic Hollywood starlet, so of course Evelyn is going to have a tragic end. I'm not against that, but remember when I said that a lot of the dramatic moments are, like, forced? It became kind of forced near the end. They were just tagged on for extra drama. This was kind of one of them, but also kind of not. Evelyn's death felt very poorly executed. And also kind of gross. Something about it does not sit right with me. You know, just let me explain what happened. Evelyn finds out that she's dying of breast cancer, and she kills herself by overdosing. Very sad, very tragic. This isn't a bad ending in and of itself, but what makes it absolutely disgusting is that Monique figures out that Evelyn is going to kill herself. She just kind of put two and two together because Evelyn, during her interview, she was alluding to this sometimes, and when Monique found out, Monique doesn't stop her because Monique mentions that she not only supports euthanasia, but I think she had a line where she said that Evelyn choosing to die was a good thing. I don't know if she actually said that, but I think she kind of alluded to it because, you know, she supports euthanasia. Huh? Like, huh? What kind of, what? What? Okay, so look, Evelyn committing suicide is sad, really sad enough, but the fact that Monique is sick enough to think that Evelyn has a right to want to die is just absurd and so disturbing. Who the hell supports euthanasia? And for what reason? That makes Monique look like a terrible person and implies that Evelyn ending her life was a good thing because it was her choice. What the hell? Also, who the hell supports euthanasia? If you were to ask me how I would rank this book after I first read it a few months ago, I would have put it in God tier without question. But after letting the dumb shit that happened in this book marinate on my brain a bit, I have to bump it down to either good tier or great tier. Evelyn's story is very strong and very fascinating. It's not completely bogged down by the dumbass decisions that were made later on in this book, but they are hard to ignore and kind of made me want to throw a chair through a window. So I'm gonna put this book in good tier because it is so good, but it's so flawed, and the flaws are hard to get past. Well, that does it for this video. Tell me what you guys thought of this book in the comments below, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye!